La Casa de Mística Fantasma. The House of Mystical Phantasms. June 2, 2018. Day 52, To Escape. The Thoughts of Alshurta. We are riding the sky chariot to our freedom. The monastery is a burning ruin covering our tracks of murder and theft. Looking out the window, I must show no fear. I must be strong for my daughters. More than many lifetimes ago, I was a thief and a murderer in my life, living in the Syrian desert long ago. That became its name. Before I came to serve my dark goddess Druj. Her name is Druj, the deceiver, the destroyer of the spirit, the destroyer of the mind, the demon of pleasure, the bringer of chaos. She truly listens to her worshippers, showing them how to make their desires come true. In her name, we kill men for their essence of man and also their bloody essence, to give power to the magics that our goddess Druj has shown us. Druj grants you the powers of the mind, insight into another's being, the long life of youth, also physical transformation. Unlike the supposed kind and benevolent gods under the self-proclaimed king of the gods Ahura Mazda, the gods are decreed to never interfere in mortal affairs. In the end, I know, as every woman who worships our dark goddess, that we will be just one more of the damned among the thousands in the land of the damned. I was damned before Druj first talked to me in my dreams. It is in life where her gifts are needed and used. I walked the land of the damned alone for 5,000 years, walked without seeing, without hearing, unable to be heard if anyone was there. I walked to the future. My journey, my path was to the new world, so that I may call my goddess into that new world, freeing her of the rule and tyranny of Ahura Mazda, the so-called king of the gods. Waiting, preparing to serve my goddess, when a true and pure innocent, to spring the trap of Druj's design, tracing a sigil written in my book of the damned. A book that I penned myself in the bloody essence of many men. I will be set free into the physical world once again. Sister Sophia fulfilled the vision that Druj gave me centuries ago. I claimed the prize of Sister Sophia's body once she traced the sigil in my book. Father Clemens, the abbot of the monastery. Druj also gave the old scribe a part of the same vision 7 short years ago. He believed it was from his god. One of Druj's dominions is in dreams. Visions or dreams, which is to say, what is what? He was given almost the same vision as mine. He saw a simple nun, Sister Sophia, with my book of the damned. It killed all men by touch alone. She opened my book of the damned and she survived. After lengthy discussions, the cardinals and the pope gave his consent for the sisters of the faith to transcribe those unholy and deadly books to men. I was in that dark monastery for a week when Druj commanded me to call my devoted daughters home. That is what I did. What my goddess wishes, it shall be done. We have stolen these bodies. I used good and pure nuns for my daughters' hosts. Their only crime was being there. I did deceive them, not telling them what the magics would entirely do. One only needs to agree to the magic for it to fully work. Namkuzu, Dagram and Shadrach had willing hosts. Sister Mary Lee, who is Namkuzu, my daughter by blood. She wanted to be free of the unending pain that the hag, the so-called Mother Superior, with her attendant Sister Nora, the child. They beat her nightly with rods, several times with a rod of thorns, to make her pure and chaste. That was a lie. They were sadists, loving the pain they daily inflicted on one in terror. Mary Lee was a pure, loving, and kind woman, almost innocent. Sister Mary Lee was befitting the robes of a priestess. Mary Lee begged me to show her how I evaded the rod. I told her how to stop the pain, to make them ignore her. She had to suffer the rod one last time to bear the most extreme pain she has ever suffered prior. I told her that was the price for the magic to work. If she genuinely wanted to be free of them. She said yes. I taught her the chant and gave her the sigil I crafted for her. I then told her the word of power Namkuzu must be called once she could not stand the pain anymore. The pain was the conduit for my daughter in order to come back to me. Sister Bridget and Sister Jean both were forced into religious service. They were lovers that met at the monastery. Bridget's stepmother forced her into religious exile, in order she did not have to see her husband's late wife every time she looked at her. Jean's father sent her to be cured of her perversions for loving women. Sending a woman who loves other women to a convent was not well thought out. Many nights we made passionate love. I showed them the power of Druj, a goddess of passion and ecstasy. After the first night, they craved for more. They wanted to know how to do what I had been doing to them. I taught them simple sigils and minor words of power to keep them enticed. I needed my Namkuzu to call the sisters here. With Namkuzu finally by my side, I asked them one last time if they genuinely wanted to be daughters of pleasure and desire, daughters of the flesh. Both said yes. In the moment of pure ecstasy, Bridget and Jean screamed the words of power, summoning Dagram and Shadrach into themselves. They were not in the new world for 10 minutes when they began arguing with each other as sisters often do. Bridget and Jean did not need to know the whole truth of the magics that they agreed to. I fulfilled their dreams and wishes. Mary Lee is free from pain. Bridget and Jean are now servants of desire and pleasure. Sadly, Sister Jude had no wants or desires to exploit. She was a truly devout and holy woman. Being trapped on that mountain was like a rabbit trapped in its den. The mountain was so high that one could not climb down. The only way off was how our hosts got here, a helicopter. The arrogant old scribe, in his eyes, he believed I was possessed. When found out I was not Sophia, in his glee of outing me, he unknowingly told me the way off that damned mountain. The old scribe told the sisters when they first came here. There was no way of communicating with the outside world. He lied, using a satellite phone to call Sophia's cloister. He was tired of his games of trying to prove I was possessed. Laughingly I tricked him every time save the last. Now we were able to leave this accursed mountain. I gathered the child sister Nora, hiding in her cell in fear, which she was known to do, as planned. The magics that I cast on her drove her insane. When I told the monks that she murdered the old scribe, all believed me. With his death, my plans of escape began. I used the mental magics to dominate the old scribe so he could not move. Putting my finger on his brow, I showed him the dream of what Drew's plans for this new world are. I drew forth the mother blade. The physical aspect of Druj and Germanu, it is drawn from the land of the damned. Only a few priestesses have this honor bestowed to them. Now I am the only one. I am now the last high priestess of my dark goddess Druj and Germanu. I am the last with the ability to draw a mother blade. If I die, the plans of my dark goddess die with me. I do not know if it was the truth of her design or my scimitar. With glee I slowly pushed into his heart. He screamed as a man knowing he was wrong and damned for it. The time for womankind is on the rise again. Their order kept the books and icons of power of their adversary, thinking they were keeping them safe from the world of man. I gathered my book, the offering bowl, our sacrificial daggers that they found in an archaeological dig from our ancient temple decades earlier. They kept them safe for me to come and claim them for the glory that is Druj. My daughters and I agreed the only way to bring Beluda home was to rip her from the land of the damned, forcing her into an unwilling Sister Jude. We brought the 6 monks bound and gagged to their chapel. We drained their bloody essence of man into the offering bowl. Holy men's blood bonds to magic, making it stronger. We channeled incredible powerful and dark magics into Sister Jude's body to call for my daughter Beluda. Blood sigils and blood magic were forced into Sister Jude. She resisted, burning her very soul till it was ash. Then Jude was no more than a husk for Beluda to enter. I felt Beluda was being held back in the land of the damned. I reached out, I pulled her free. Again someone took her from me. I grabbed her back, and we struggled to pull her back and forth till I gathered my daughter. Once she was home, we waited for eternity till she moved. The next day, I was filled with such energy I should not have for several days. After a ritual of such great power, I should have been barely able to stand. Beluda, as well as full of energy, she should not be able to leave her bed for weeks. As we prepared for our freedom, I went to the cell Sister Nora was imprisoned in by the monks after killing the old scribe. Since she was a masochist, I burned her alive so she would be in ecstasy when she met her God. Why was she, and soon the old, had given the deaths that I chose for them? They abused their fellow sisters worse than a daughter of Druj treat the pigs that man is. They were traitors to fellow priestesses, traitors to fellow women. They did it with glee in their hearts. I could not figure out how to use the satellite phone. My host Sophia had never seen one. Sophia grew up in a cloister of nuns. She did not know many things in this new world since she grew up in a cloister. She was in service to her God, separate from the world for most of her life. Her knowledge was the scholarly study of mathematics, science, and theology. I gave the phone to Shadrach, passing the knowledge I took from the old scribe of its use. Her host's father was a diviner of oil, a very wealthy man. She was a wise choice to know its workings. She called her host's father. Shadrach told him a grain of truth, mostly lies of this accursed place. She begged him to take her and 4 others to her mother's home. Using the memory of his late wife, saying she would have never allowed her to be placed in this hell that the stepmother forced her into. Her father sent his sky chariot for us, his loving daughter Sally and her new friends. We will be on our way to her home in California. Finally, we can leave this accursed monastery. Shadrach put in the number for the airport. I dominated the hag, speaking through her, easily. Telling them of the child-murdering Father Clemens, the monks, then setting the monastery ablaze. A helicopter was dispatched. We filled 3 crates, 1 with the relics of Druj, 2 were filled with the darker books of their adversary being kept in a vault. I am sure their adversary will welcome them back into the world. Once the crates were outside, we put the monastery ablaze, denying them the knowledge of their adversary that they so carefully hoarded. The helicopter came. The hag fell from the helicopter high in the air during our escape from that place. Shadrach aided in her fall. Now, my daughter Namkuzu sits by my side. Beluda, Dagram, and Shadrach are all in the sky chariot to go to California, a place Sophia said women and men are equal and in many ways superior to men. We will be free to do the will of Druj again. Namkuzu, with her mental magics, dominated the attendants of the sky chariot to keep the crate of Druj next to us. It was small, so it would not be in the way. The contents are beyond value. The relics will never be left alone till we have a vault to place them in. We were all given drinks and food. I asked the girl if she could retrieve us 2 strong drinks of her choice. The food in the sky chariot made the monasteries taste like salt and sand. My drink was strong and flavorful. It was called a gin and tonic. Namkuzu drank something called Maker's Mark. She liked it. I thought it was sour. The sisters chose not to drink anything strong since they are watching and protecting the crate. The attendant gave both something called a Coca-Cola. Shadrach loved the sugary, bubbly drink. Dagram, ever vigilant, did not touch hers, fearing it would impair her. This world is new to Beluda. She just stares out the window, looking at nothing. You could see the fear and confusion in her eyes. The 4 of us have reference points from our host's memories. Beluda has none. Jude died before her memories could be passed to her. What secrets of the land of Druj did she keep? My daughters, all but Beluda, said of their memories is that they gave their essence to the offering bowl, then they were here. They have no memory of the land of the damned. Unlike me, I remember walking in the darkness, slowly going mad alone. Before we left the monastery, I realized I had become too powerful for just a mere high priestess. The spell work was too easy, it flowed through me with ease, like water flowing through a stream. I was able to dominate others mentally with ease. I controlled 2 people at the same time with flawless skill. I might ascend to being the celestial daughter. She is the leader of our religion, second only to Druj herself. I can only ascend if a new priestess can call the Mother Blade into this physical world. Sadly, so few of us are graced with the ability to draw forth the physical embodiment of our dark goddess. We have gone for decades between celestial daughters. Beluda may have the ability to bring forth a Mother Blade. Soon, my goddess will be here. She will sing in the light that has been denied her. We will need to do dark and bloody rituals to call her to our new home. We will dance to her song of the essence of pigs that are men. We will dance in their blood, calling for new daughters to join us in the war against men. The thoughts of Namkuzu. I can see it in my mother's eye. She is distraught and will not voice it to us. Why does she worry? Women are to become powerful, men beneath our sandals as they should be. We will call our goddess home, no god to hinder us against our bloody war on men. Druj Gramenu is the deceiver, the destroyer of the spirit, the destroyer of the mind, the demon of pleasure, the bringer of chaos. The self-proclaimed king of the gods Ahura Mazda exiled her for asking just a single question. Druj was his champion, they entered this realm together side by side, equals. She waged his wars for him. They shared many bloody campaigns when he decided he was above fighting being the self-proclaimed king of the gods. Druj was his champion, she waged his wars for him. Druj spread his word in many bloody battles and campaigns, entire planes of existence in his name. Her wrong? She asked why womankind were seen as being lesser instead of equals to men. Ahura Mazda then cast Druj from the land of light into the pit of the damned, she quickly became its ruler. Ahura Mazda will regret that decision. We now wage war against his precious men, women are empowered for that war by their bloody essence, and their essence of men, making our magic strong. Women will take our rightful place as the true rulers of this world, men being the slaves and cattle. Druj divined a way to escape from Ahura Mazda's reach. How to truly escape the tyranny of his rule. Druj told my mother, her most loving, devoted, and fanatical priestess. She was to walk in the land of the damned. My mother was told that it would take 5,000 years till a woman of pure innocence will open a portal to bring her into a host body. My mother gladly, without a second thought, agreed. We will create a portal through a spiritual curtain in time in order that Druj may come forward. Leaving those gods trapped in the past, impotent in the present, no one to worship them and forgotten. Druj will have her worshippers when she is called, and she will have more as time goes on. Druj is a wise goddess. The thoughts of Shadrach. Sally's father met us at the airport. We were in the air for 9 hours. None could sleep on the flight for fear of missing something outside of the window. We flew higher than the gods with the wind beneath our bodies. Sally would always hug her father and call him Daddy. I walked to him, called him Daddy, then I hugged him. Whenever I was this close to a man, it meant he was to die after he gave me the essence I needed. I kissed Daddy's cheek. Thank you for saving us from that torture pit my stepmother forced me into. Still hugging me, he apologized for listening to her. She told me it was for the best to give you structure. For the rest of my life, Daddy? Sally, she has power over me. I have to listen to her. It's called sex, Dad. All women know that. She gives it, you follow. I hope you are at least getting worthwhile sex, Daddy. He yells, Sally. Alshurta clears her throat. Sorry, Daddy, it was a long flight, and living in a torture pit makes you cranky. Let's go see dear Suzan. I introduced Daddy to the coven. I explained that Alshurta was our mother figure at the monastery. She is the wisest of all of us. She gathered us all for our protection, for the strength of one fails in the power of many. Daddy and Alshurta talked the whole time during the rest of the ride. We reached Sally's home. We were all amazed. Most of the house hung over a cliff. A man opened the door of the limousine to let us out. Dagram and Namkuzu both gave a quiet laugh. Once in the house, we saw that it had clear walls as if the air itself was solid. The room looked over the ocean. Daddy was saying something. I did not listen to him, I was amazed, looking over the water, it was vast. I touched the invisible wall, a shriek broke my thoughts. Turning around, dear stepmother was yelling at me not to touch the walls. Druj, do not let me fall through. I put my palm on the wall and leaned against it, saying with heavy sarcasm, Hello, Suzan. It is obvious looking at Suzan she reveled in the life of a wealthy woman. Gems upon her ears, neck, and fingers, with fine expensive clothing. I told you to call me mother 100 times, I am your mother now. Sally would do whatever she needed to make her father happy, even though it was bile in her mouth. I have no such desire to hold my tongue back. I will say what Sally craved to say. Did you give birth to me, Suzan? Did you sit up with me when I was scared or sick? No. You will never be my mother, Suzan. Suzan pulls her hand back to slap Shadrach. Just as it was to meet flesh, Alshurta catches her wrist. Who are you to touch me, you tiny whore? I am the one who just saved your life. Sally is not the weak little girl that you knew. Being kicked out of her father's life, all because of who she looks like, being thrown into a den of sadists and rapists because of your disdain of her, she is changed. She left as a weak girl, she returns as a woman you do not know or can even understand. Never challenge her again. I don't have to listen to you children. Get out of my house. James, call the police and have these girls kicked out and arrested for threatening me. Alshurta is about to dominate Sally's father when he spoke. No, Suzan, she is my daughter. She has more right to be here than you. I listened to you before about Sally, she was tortured because of it. I will never listen to you about her again. Shadrach was smiling, Alshurta nods her approval to her, shaking a feeling of fog from his mind. Sally, we will hold a welcome home party next month. I will call some of our friends. James, you did not ask me. I forbid it. Suzan, your opinion means shit, this is my father's house, you just live here. No, Sally, my opinion means half of what your dear daddy owns. Shadrach looks to Sally's father. It means if she divorces me, she gets at least half of what is mine, Sally. Usually, the followers of Druj would love this way to acquire wealth and power, other than killing them outright and looting their homes. But Shadrach knew from Sally's memories that her dad was a good man, Suzan is unworthy of him. Oh, isn't that nice? Well done, Suzan. You live like a queen here, or live like a queen on your own. Congratulations for putting your hand in a dry river bed and catching the finest fish. What a strange little girl you still are. I will allow you to stay here till after your party. Then you will be kicked out and will never receive another dime from us. Do not look to your father. He will do as I tell him, my strange little daughter. If that is your wish, in whatever way I can, I will gladly give you your freedom, Suzan. Beluda thinks she was told not to challenge Shadrach. It never goes well for those that do. We have less than a month till my welcome home party. We need to get our plans ready. Daddy will be so happy without the bitch, Suzan. We took over Sally's room, moving the bed out, which we all agree was very comfortable. Several small tables were removed. Searching the house, we found many thick blankets and large pillows. We made the room look almost like Alshurta's chamber in our temple. Sally, we do have other rooms they can use. Daddy, the only time we were safe is when we slept together, we need to come back to our old lives slowly. I don't know if you can understand. I know that mother would have. Women only have women to look after each other. This was one way we protected each other from the supposedly chaste monks and the sadistic nuns. Suzan took 3 years of my life from me, Daddy. I don't feel safe here with her. He comes over and gives her a backbreaking hug. She only controls me in the house. She does not understand what I do, only that she has money. I have free range at work to do as I please, we will find a nice place for you and your friends. Why is he a hugger, the punishments one must endure to achieve one's ends? Thank you, Daddy, faking a sniffle, I love you. I hear Dagram in my mind. You never said you love me, goat breath. That's because you smell like an ox's dirty vulva, goat face. Alshurta starts to laugh. Sorry, I just remembered what the sisters would say to each other. Alshurta looks to the 2 sisters and reminds them to play nice. James, could I impose upon you and take the girls somewhere? Beluda needs to talk with me, we need some time alone. I still have several of Sally's swimwear suits and clothing still here. We can go to the ocean, I am sure they would love that. We will stay till the sunset, people go there just to watch that. I know they will love it. Dagram and Namkuzu have never seen the ocean, thank you. In their minds, Alshurta tells them. We are only safe under our charade of our hosts. Be careful, watch, learn and remember all. I know I don't have to tell you my daughters, but do have fun. Shadrach closes the door. Alshurta places her hand under Beluda's chin, she moves her daughter's face to look at her. She has been silent since she left the monastery. The high priestess peers into Beluda's mind. Can you hear me, daughter? Alshurta grabs her forehead. Daughter, not so loud. See a stream, see how it rises and lowers. That is your voice, lessen your inner voice by seeing the stream go low. When you need to be louder, watch the stream rise. Very quietly, like this priestess? Yes, daughter. Very good. You can go louder if you wish. What do you remember, daughter? I gave my essence to the offering bowl, I died my priestess. I fell so far, I did not think I was ever going to stop falling. I saw others falling with me, men, women and children all were screaming as we fell. I was plucked from my fall. Druj put me on the ground. All the others fell to the ground, broken and suffering. Our dark goddess gave me a wicked whip, she told me to make the men suffer as they have made women suffer in life. I saw Dagram, Shadrach and Namkuzu. It was as if we never died. The sisters would compete on how many men they could punish, who could cause them the most pain, their favorite was who can make them scream the loudest. Namkuzu was as a strong working ox, never tiring, 2 or more under her lash. She made them all wish they went to the land of light. I remember every day High Priestess. Druj would call us and mentally teach us the power of our magics, and the magics of the mind. Then back to punishing the men. Our goddess saw the zeal in Namkuzu, setting her to punish the false priestesses, the heretical priestesses, also traitors to our fellow sisters. You thought she was cruel to the men. No, the women had their flesh flayed off them daily by Namkuzu. She would laugh at their pain, making the previous day feel like a light breeze, compared to the new hell she would come up with. I saw you, priestess, several times. Walking alone, I called to you. You never heard me. You walked through the pits of the damned, never seeing us. After you killed Sir Percy, Druj tortured him personally, taking delight in a modern man's knowledge. She would often say welcome to the sounds of eternity, you arrogant pig, then disemboweling him. When she tired of his screams, draining him of all his knowledge, she threw him to the sisters as a plaything. Druj called all of us to dance in the blood. It was an army of daughters with celestial daughters as generals to do our goddess bidding. She needed to send a vision to a holy man in the new world. She needed more essence since it was far into the future. If men could die in the land of the damned, we slew entire cities. That small vision drained our dark goddess. If the essences of Ahura Mazda could have attacked us then, they would have won easily. Druj screamed in ecstasy as you went through the doorway. In her joy, she had all the holy men, the excommunicated priestesses and daughters, to suffer the lash tenfold. A small army of daughters under Namkuzu collected the priestesses who turned their back on Druj, they who tried to curry favor with Ahura Mazda, so they would be accepted into the land of light when they died. The glee Namkuzu had when she told them over and over that they would never be allowed into the land of the light. Once you worshipped Druj, you were forever damned by the decree of Ahura Mazda. You contacted Druj. She told you to call us home. First, Namkuzu left us. She rose above us as if a rope was pulling her up, then she vanished. The sisters were encased in pure white light, blazing in the darkness. They embraced each other, then, they were gone. Druj taught me many dark magics as I waited. The time I spent in the land of the damned, what I thought was an eternity, paled as I awaited my call from you, my priestess. I was enshrouded by darkness, at last, I felt your hand trying to pull me. There was a wall that would not allow me to pass. I felt your power rise. Then it felt as if I was drowning in floodwaters, bouncing off the rocks. Your power increased. I flew through a sandstorm. My essence was being stripped away. I feared I would have all my essence flayed from me. Then I was free. Once inside my host, it was not a welcoming home. I had to force my essence in order to stay. I opened my eyes, you and my sisters welcoming me to the new world. I never had the opportunity to walk in your host's mind, Beluda. I wish I could have passed to you, at least some of her knowledge. How can none of the other daughters remember anything, my priestess? None has ever come back from the land of the damned and tell me. I still do not have the understanding of how Druj did it. To be able to do the rite of transfer when the one to be transferred is in the land of the damned where none can escape is a miracle, one I have not yet fathomed. Our goddess Druj is the supreme tactician. I bow to her dark wisdom. I have never heard of a tale as you are, daughter. The wisdom of Druj kept you whole, she forged you to be stronger and wiser. You will become a wise priestess, a powerful high priestess, maybe a celestial daughter that none will withstand if you are blessed to be one. Druj gave you the knowledge as each priestess has done to each daughter, as I did to you. Our knowledge stretches back in time since Druj gave the knowledge to the first high priestess Munawardam and her unborn daughter Kalumptum, who was the first daughter. Alshurta and Beluda placed their finger on their brow, blessed be the first high priestess, blessed be the first daughter. You now need to understand the teachings as all in our faith must do. Not only can you know a thing, you need to understand a thing, in order to call upon the powers of our dark goddess. You know that a seed becomes a plant. You need to understand the dirt it grows in, how much light and water it takes to grow strong. Or how to make a crop wither. Once you understand seed to plant, you will be able to call seeds into mighty plants, or make a man's hard work for a season rotting on the ground. In just the blink of your eye. Once you understand all that you know, you become a priestess. When you understand Druj's knowledge, I need you to share with me what Druj showed you. I would like to know what you were taught. Were you taught new powers? You are truly blessed by Druj, daughter. You need to practice the mental magics, to dominate others, read minds or cloud them, use the stream again. That is a powerful tool to use. You can already bar your mind. Now, you need to find a doorway inside others. For men, it is nearly always connected to their members. Just as you were taught to tame a man that he may do your bidding so you can bring him to the dance, keep him distracted in the same fashion with the mind. See the stream as a trickle when you enter, hide in their thoughts, you will see them as rocks large to small. To learn what their secrets their memories are, you will see them as leaves. Pick up the leaf, place it between your hands, it will sing to you all its secrets. You control their mind. For women, the doorway is harder to find and harder to unlock. That is why we train with women, learn how to move a boulder, then the pebbles that are men are easy to dominate. To dominate, you enter as a trickle unless you intend to stun or weaken. Once in their mind, you put them in an empty room. The trick is not to let them remember you were there. You can plant the seeds of false memories, you can make enemies into allies. I suggest starting with Shadrach. She has yet to learn to lock her door. Physical action is more manageable than speaking through them. Once you are well versed in her mind, try your hand with Namkuzu, she is strong of mind and incredible strength of self. She will find you out right away. If not, she will sniff you out in her mind quickly. She will retaliate, prepare for her onslaught, it will be felt deep in your essence. She will train you from that point. Leave Suzan to me. She is a tempting morsel, I know. Just like Namkuzu, her sense of self is strong. I have walked gently in her mind. She noticed something was not her or her thoughts. I became a breeze drifting so she did not notice. Suzan has two weaknesses, her first weakness is in her strength. She has sworn off the strong drink. She was a slave to a cruel master. I think it is time for her to worship her dark master again. I have never said this of a man, James is a good man I have walked in his mind. James is not cruel, he loves Sally with his whole heart, his late wife was his goddess, he worshipped morning, till night, probably in his dreams also. He unknowingly became a partner to a viper. We will console him after Suzan dies till his sorrow is gone. James is a very wealthy man and a powerful ally in the days ahead. We may find him a woman, so he is not alone. He seems the type of man who needs someone. It is beneficial to find one who is agreeable to us as opposed to another viper. Druj understands the use of men as tools when required. James is that tool for us in this new world. Alshurta looks to the door. Beluda, speak aloud. Suzan is listening at the door. She will leave soon. Give her praise. Her strong sense of self hinges on others' praise. That is her other weakness. You are right, Beluda, Suzan is a very beautiful woman. James must feel honored to be by her side. I wish Sally could see that in her. But you know her, Alshurta, headstrong, and will not let reason enter her mind. Beluda sends to Alshurta, I want to spit priestess. I wish to flay her daughter, we all have our roles to play. Sadly, for James, Suzan is the dying queen. Beluda, we should go upstairs and see if Suzan would like to sit in the sun with us. Yes, Alshurta, I am sure with the life she has led, she has many fine tales, more than we have. Both Alshurta and Beluda are on the verge of laughing. Asha. The divine essence of truth, righteousness, and order. One of the holy seven, the Amsha Spenta. She is the true enemy of Druj. Out of the seven divine essences, her brothers and sisters were split from Ahura Mazda's soul, the supposed king of the gods. He who is the boils on the tip of a man's cock as the demon Druj is deception, Asha is the essence that is truth. The demon whore has been quiet for far too long now. Father told us only to use our worshippers. We are forbidden to attack another directly. He never gives a reason. Who am I to question my king, my father? Any worshippers other than the damned, her craven daughters that enter into her domain, are quickly found out, then tortured more than any of the damned. My only eye is my scrying stone. My view into her domain is limited, my stone becomes clouded the more intently I stare with its use. Several times she has called the considerable essence of all the damned, that has never been done before. I have lost track of the 4 daughters of pivotable influence. I had seen them many times appear in my stone when they lived. Then in the land of the damned, by my father's decree, none can leave that dark realm, ever. 3 quickly vanished. 1 ascended, 2 were inside a blinding light in that dark domain, then they were gone. I watched the last, forcing the stone to stay on her. I would always exceed the limits of the stone. I had to let the cloud clear from the stone. I would pray for my father's patience and wisdom for my vigil. How did they escape that dark land? Father decreed none can ever leave, forever. A black fog began to encase the last daughter, slowly she began to disappear. Without thinking I acted, I denied her permission to leave. Then I felt a play piece that was lost, long ago, she was never in the land of the damned. Ever since she died, she never came to the realm of the damned, never going to the land of the dead. She was never on any of the other planes. Now the high whore pulled her daughter from my grasp with raw power she never had before. I drowned the daughter in a flood. I shook her, holding her down. The high whore's hand ripped her from my grasp again. I flayed the daughter's essence in a sandstorm. She will be a mindless shell. If she leaves that domain of the damned. The high priestess flexed her considerable raw power again. I had the daughter, I refused to let her slip away like the others. Then the stone failed me. I forced it again beyond its ability. My scream could be heard in all the domains. When I could use the stone again, none were in any domain that I could see. What is that demon whore planning? What scheme is being played, out of my sight? The stone will not fail me again. I will use the patience of my father, never forcing the stone, just gazing, never looking at a thing longer than a glance. When the demon whore makes her move, I will be there to stop her. I am sorry, my beloved father. Only I can stop her plans. Father, you created me for this very reason. I am the only one who can. I want to tell you all of this. You will call me stupid and impatient as always. I will get your approval and praise by stopping the whore's plans. Sally's father drove his Jaguar, taking sharp turns at high speed, teasing the girls, showing only a quarter of his car's power. Sally, do you remember your first time driving, Jean? Not able to recall a memory as terrified as she was. I chose to forget it, Daddy. I would forget it also if I forgot to wait for the garage door to open fully. Dagram and Namkuzu both laugh. Dagram leans into James's ear. Has she always been strong-headed and impatient? Yes, Sally walked well before she should have crawled. Shadrach turned, sticking her tongue out at Dagram. Goat face. You're the goat face. Dung breath. You have sloppy dung breath. Boy body. You smell of old men in a stool room. Namkuzu slaps Shadrach's ear. Then grabs Dagram's ear and twists, saying, "Behave. You must be the leader, Namkuzu." Proudly she says, "I am the first daughter." Namkuzu, I could never get Sally to listen to me. Have you tried slapping her ears? No, I like sleeping with both eyes closed. Namkuzu was the first to laugh. Shadrach hears Namkuzu in her mind. Even your host was disagreeable, sister. Goat butt. Seeing all three girls breaking out laughing together makes James happy, knowing his daughter finally has real friends. That is the only positive thing to come from that hellhole. James pulls into the parking lot. Girls, I will pick you up here after sunset. You do not need an old man from stopping your fun. The daughters start to walk to the ocean. Her father yells, "I love you, Sally." Shadrach becomes stiff as a board. Turning around. "I love you also, Daddy." Dagram in a sing-song voice. Shadrach loves a man, Shadrach loves a man. She punches Dagram's shoulder hard. "I will make you think you are a man soon, little sister. An ox must have kicked your fat head. I am the oldest. You were, little sister. Sally is older than you. I am the eldest. You do as I say now. I will do what you say." When Namkuzu willingly beds a man and a donkey. "Leave me out of your quarrels. I will never willingly bed a man unless the essence of man is needed." Shadrach says, "So you will bed a donkey?" "If the choice of a man or a donkey, I would gladly choose the donkey." All three are laughing as they finally reach the shore. Namkuzu cannot remember laughing in her whole life as much as she has over the last day. We are genuinely free thanks to Druj's wisdom and the High Priestess's perseverance. All three stare at the ocean in awe. It is one thing to see it at a distance. The memory of an ocean from your host pales when you see the sea for the first time. It is vaster than the unending desert they grew up in. Men and women glide on top of the water with what looks to be a board. Children throw smaller boards on the shore and float upon the water with speed. Seeing the children with skills and those just learning was delightful. Women stretched out upon the beach in less clothing than a concubine would wear, all without fear of the men so close to them. Men, young and old, preening and starting to curry the women's notice and favor. Some things never change. The women are ignoring the strutting peacocks. That is a welcomed change. The three daughters stripped down to their suits, running to the water. They were not 20 feet away when a young woman grabs Namkuzu's shoulder. "I can't help to have noticed that you have never been to a public beach. You do not want to leave your belongings alone. Some people prey upon the new to a beach. I found that out the hard way when I first came here. I lost my wallet, my phone, and the cutest pair of jeans I had." "Thank you. Renee, you can call me Renee, at least for this week anyway. Next week I think I might try Michonne. She's a cool character in The Walking Dead. I love her." "Who do you like in this show?" Namkuzu quickly scans Mary Lee's memory. All she knew was a theater in the air, a television. "I am sorry, Renee, I have never seen The Walking Dead. My mother did not own a television. Also, at the convent, there was no television." Shadrach and Dagram are getting impatient with Namkuzu telling her to come to the water. "Go without me, sisters. I wish to talk to Renee." Namkuzu turns to Renee. "Is that agreeable?" "That would be wonderful. You always meet such cool people at the beach." "So, they are your sisters?" "Not in that sense. They are true blood sisters. We were nuns together and now we're free. You are too young to be a stuffy penguin. They are all old, wrinkly, gliding over the ground." Renee lightly laughs. With a smile, "We failed the class on gliding. They kicked us out." Renee gives her a smile. "So is it true what they say about nuns?" Namkuzu lightly reads Renee's thoughts. Why yes, they do drink water. Don't tell anyone. No, silly. Are they lesbians? Not all are, Renee. I did look for them. Did you find any? I found 4. I have been with men, I find them worthless and unsatisfying. Renee says the stupid grunts that they make, not appealing at all. I'm bisexual. I do like women more. We know where all the sweet spots are. 20 minutes later. Shadrach and Dagram are back with their clothing. Typical Dagram, Namkuzu meets a girl, then tries to bed her. Shadrach, do you remember Shraga? She followed Namkuzu for weeks after they bedded. I always thought Namkuzu was satisfying. You are more talented. That is the nicest thing you have said to me, Shadrach. You still look like an old goat, though. Dagram pulls Shadrach's hair. Yield, I yield. You look like a young goat. Dagram lightly slaps Shadrach's ear. I am not old. But still a goat, though. There are other animals than goats, Shadrach. None that look as beautiful as you, sister. I will take that as a compliment, sister. When will Namkuzu bed her and get it over? The sun is almost down. I haven't seen anyone bedding here. This is a perfect place. Why is no one doing it? Since Namkuzu is not between her legs yet, it must be against the law, Dagram. Like that would stop her. Dagram sends to Namkuzu. She does have a very agreeable body, sister. The sun is almost down. Since you are not showing her your skills, sit with us, James will be here after the sun sets. We need a cell phone. Everyone needs one. It is a magical box. It shows you so many magical things. Renee gave me a long number to reach her when I get one. We have been watching you. You have lost your skill, sister. You have not gone between her legs yet. The guards here will not allow it. Also, there is nothing to hide behind. Namkuzu says something to Renee, leans in, kissing her. She comes back to her sisters. Angry, again, sisters, I can't help it if I am more desirable. Only to the desperate. The sisters break out laughing. All 3 become silent as the sun begins its descent into the ocean. The changes of colors and clouds look like flames and dark smoke. As they slowly sink into the water. The ride home. James is waiting in his car. Did you enjoy the sunset, girls? Uncharacteristically, Dagram speaks. It was magical, James. Thank you for a beautiful sight. I have seen the sunset in the desert my whole life. It does not compare to the sight I saw today. Thank you, James. You honored us. Those are the most words I have heard you say in one sentence, sister. Are you okay? Dagram slaps Shadrach's ear. Why do you girls slap each other's ears? Doesn't it hurt? Namkuzu leans into James. 1. It is a game of speed. You need to slap the hand away, you win if you slap it away, then you can slap. Also, it is used in learning. If it did not hurt, you learn nothing. The nuns teach you that? I can understand why they are so mean now. Did you girls enjoy your swim? Sally and I enjoyed our swim. It was refreshing. Namkuzu tried to bed a girl. She failed. There was nothing to hide behind, I told you. James grins. Shadrach sticks her tongue out at Namkuzu. That means you failed, Kuzu. Namkuzu takes a wicked slap to her ear. Shadrach moves out of the way. My name is Namkuzu. I told you. I hate Kuzu. That is what the slave masters called me. Never say that name again. James thinks, slave masters? What happened to that poor girl? James breaks the angry silence. Namkuzu, you did not fail. I tried to bed several girls at that beach. If there is no place to hide, you cannot win the game. I cheated and bought a van. Still, I was unable to bed them. That beach hates lovers. I told you, I did not fail. The beach stacked the coppers against me. Thank you, James. James reaches behind the car seat and rubs Namkuzu's hair. That's the attitude. Don't let them get you, dear. Namkuzu screams in her mind, he touched me, a man touched me. Shadrach and Dagram quickly send to Namkuzu before she does something. He is a good man, sister. Stay your wrath. Save it for someone deserving. Not this man. He is a man, and there are no good men. No man touches a daughter of Druj. None. Your mother has called him a good man. The high priestess needs him. Namkuzu sits back in the seat, stewing in her anger. James realizes he did something wrong. She is angry, which is a terrifying thing. In uncomfortable silence, he pulls into the garage. As they get out of the car, he asks her nicely to stay so they could talk. I did not think. I am sorry. I did not know you do not like to be touched. I have a friend who was raped. She only lets women touch her now. If she was drowning, I doubt she would reach for a man's hand to save her life. Honestly, I am sorry. I understand, James. Thank you. You did not know. I am glad that you have understanding. I would hate explaining to Suzan why you have one hand. As if she would notice until I needed to write her a check. James, I would not take your strong hand. I may be cruel, I am not a sadist. I am glad to know that. Well, now that is past us, you should go to bed. It has been a very long day for you all. Thank you, James. May Ishtar, the goddess of night, bless your slumber. She gets to the bedroom. All are deep asleep already. Shedding her clothing, shoving her sisters to move so she can sleep next to her mother. In her mind, she hears her mother. I love you, my beautiful daughter. She was wrapped around Alshurta. As she starts to fall to sleep, she sends to her mother. I love you, my beautiful mother. June 6th. 51 days to escape. 11 a.m. Shadrach wakes before the other daughters. Stretching, she sees Alshurta sitting in the chair, naked as usual, looking outside the window. High Priestess, how long have you been awake? I love to watch the dawn before my long journey in the land of the damned. I was denied the blessed sun that warmed my bones. I was in the monastery for more than a month. Again, denied the sun in that dark place. Now the sun kisses me again. The hope for a brighter day than yesterday is on the rise. When I die, I will go to another dark place forever. I think I deserve to see this beautiful orb on this side of death. The dawn to warm me again. To see a new day, try to be as beautiful as Namkuzu is. I understand, High Priestess. Blessed be your triumph in the darkness. There was no triumph. Shadrach, Druj still sits on a throne of rock, trapped in the land of the damned. She is denied the warmth of the kiss of the sun. Think of the largest number you can. Double that, triple that, quadruple that. That is a grain of sand in the black desert that our dark goddess is exiled in. She's been in the dark, forever denied the sun. I walked in the land of the damned for 5,000 years, that was not even a blink in the eye for her torment. Druj has said she had been there for 2 eons, my host memories say that is 2 billion years. Far, far more significant than we could count. Time always flows different in the other planes. Some a day is in an hour, others a day is 1,000 years. Have I told you that when Druj was the champion of the false king, she would blind her enemies with the brilliance of her light? Druj's standard was the sun. Her eyes burned with flames. Druj was a warrior of light. Daughter, that is why she despises the false king and the Amshashpenta. She will be the one to kill them for his single, rash, unthinking choice to throw her into the land of the damned, all for a single question. He chose their journey, he chose their path to their death. Druj stands at the end of that path. Alshurta shouts, death to Ahura Mazda, king of the idiots. Death to the Aimshaw Spenta, the 7 essences, kings, and queens of brainless maggots. Blessed be the dark goddess Druj, she who will triumph, she who was and will be again the last to stand on the battlefield. Shadrach bows her head. Glory to the dark goddess, she who destroys her enemies. Shadrach, I refuse to put that horrible habit on again. Do you think Sally has anything I can wear? Shadrach concentrates. I know James kept several of his late wife's dresses. You do look to be the same size. He is just a man with his desires. I am very sure that, however, enjoyable to see you walk around naked. Susan's head would burst by the blood rushing into it, just from the anger of how beautiful you are. He would approve of you using one till we can acquire our own. Let's go to his listening room. That is where he kept them when Sally left. That is where he keeps his treasured memories of her. Susan hates the room, she never goes in. That is sad and beautiful at the same time, Shadrach. How did he find that viper? Why did he want her to be bonded with? According to Sally, Susan was a very nice woman. They would laugh, go shopping together. She gave James the much-needed love again. Then the ring slipped on her finger, like a caterpillar she cocooned for a year. Then the fucking bitch emerged. We realized that she married James just for his money. Her greed knew no bounds. She forced me to call her mother. When Susan realized Sally was starting to fight back, she made a very healthy donation to the church. Sally did not positively know, but she is sure the abbess retired quickly on her entering the nunnery. She sold Sally to a god she never believed in and despised after her mother died. The high priestess noticed that Shadrach said, "We realized, and she forced you." Alshurta sighs. I will so enjoy going to her funeral pyre. James's den was on the opposite side of the house, but on the same floor. Alshurta is always walking proudly when she is naked. They go into the room. Shadrach goes to the stereo pressing a black button, surrounded by other black buttons on a black background. Smooth jazz begins to play. Sally loved James's music. It is quite pleasurable. Alshurta stands in front of the window. This is far better than goat-stretched drums, it is enjoyable to the ear. I did not know he kept so many. What did she say? Shadrach sticks her head out a door. What color would you like? As any priestess. Blood red, preferably the blood of a worthy dance. Okie dokie, one blood red dress coming up. Alshurta is now perplexed. Shadrach knew Susan's story very intimately, almost passionately. She knew how to turn on the music machine without thinking, she barely looked at it. Shadrach knew that Sally liked the music. She knew I looked the same size as Sally's mother. Shadrach knew about the dresses. She knew where to go for them. The shock at the number of dresses he kept. Even more importantly, Shadrach knew why the dresses were here. Now okie dokie? Shadrach does not know that word. Alshurta picks up a picture. A stunning black woman looking like an older Sally sitting on a branch, a beautiful wide smile, large brass earrings, a simple necklace with a baby Sally in her arms. A question never asked. Is an answer never heard, thus, you are ignorant. The daughters of Druj are never ignorant. She fears the answer. Alshurta must ask the question. Sally, is this your mother? She was beautiful, Sophia. Priestess, what did you say? I just asked if this was Sally's mother. Does she have long curly black hair? With a heavy heart. Yes, she has beautiful, long, curly black hair. That would be Karen. High Priestess, I think you would like this. Shadrach hands her a blood-red cotton dress. Alshurta places her hand lovingly on Shadrach's face. This is a wonderful choice, Shadrach, daughter of Druj, sister to Dagram. I saw where James got Sally's swimsuits last night. I will grab some clothes for the rest of us. Well, with Dagram's boy body, they might not fit. Do not tell her, my priestess. Slapping my ears would not be enough for that retaliation. I agree. I enjoy the semi-peace you two give us already. Alshurta walks into the room. Namkuzu is sitting in the chair, staring outside. Good morning, my beautiful daughter. Enjoying the sun? I was watching the birds, lovely creatures. Namkuzu turns and is stunned by her mother in the dress. Mother. You are beautiful. No, I am not, daughter. I am old. I lost my beauty long before I became a daughter. Mother, you are young again. Do not see yourself in the past. See yourself today. You are my mother. You are beautiful, it is the same truth that the sun warms me. Alshurta goes to the mirror. I do like this dress. It feels light and cool on my skin. Shadrach comes in with an armload of clothing. Dumping it on a sleeping Dagrim, quickly jumping out of arm's reach. With a loud yell. Shadrach. Sister, it was amazing. A djinn appeared and made it rain clothing on you. Namkuzu tell her. I was looking out the window. Alshurta, tell her. I was looking in the mirror. You said a djinn appeared. Djinn can never be seen in mirrors, only the old magic can control them. Dagrim, you were lucky he only made it rain clothing on you. Shadrach begins to laugh. Dagrim glares at her sister. Beluda says loudly, I was sleeping. Stop your constant bickering. You're worse than drunk old men. Namkuzu says in a soft voice. You woke the sleeping lioness, best to back away, sisters, quickly rather than slowly. Shadrach directs them to put on the clothes. Once dressed, they head upstairs to break their fast. The girls head out first. Alshurta is a minute behind them. Halfway up the stairs, she hears Suzan laughing. She is not as evil as she led us to believe. In between her laughs. Who dressed you, a colorblind, autistic child with one eye? I cannot believe I am saying this. The dead whore's daughter is more fashionable than all of you. Alshurta thinks yes, she is as evil as she showed us. The high priestess composes herself, then she stands next to her daughters. Suzan's eyes lock on Alshurta's dress. You tiny whore, where did you get that dead whore's dress? Alshurta sends to Shadrach. Make haste and bolt the door to James' listening room. Now. I found this in a closet. I am sorry if I am wearing your dress. I will put my habit back on. I would never wear a piece of worthless shit like that. I have taste not like that dead cunt. Alshurta cannot enter Suzan's mind walled in her anger, without damaging her mind, her door is shut and bolted. I did not know, I am sorry, Suzan. I shall put myself back into the habit. It makes no difference to me. Namkuzu sees her mother is letting Suzan bury her in the sand. She is the mother of cunning tactics now, she needs to wait out the storm that is Suzan. The goal is to free Druj, not to kill Suzan, at least until she is not required. When Suzan is worthless, the demon will have the last laugh. Get out of my sight, you fucking whores. They were barely down the steps. They hear her yelling at James on the phone, wanting to know where the clothing is. The tiny blonde whore is wearing your dead bitch's clothing. I told you to throw them away years ago. You stupid man. If you won't, I fucking will. Yes, come home now. The phone is thrown across the room, now she is blaming James for breaking another phone. In Sally's room, Namkuzu looks to Alshurta. Will you use the mother blade on her mother? Namkuzu, we do not live in our time anymore. When the guards heard a daughter of Druj killed a man, they marked it down as stupidity. They knew what happened to those looking for the justice of man, and they would let us be. In this time we do not have an accord with the city guards. We will start a new accord with the new guards. Now if we tip our hand they will search, depending upon their intelligence, they may come close. In the ensuing investigations, we will let the church know where we are. Until we have our own domicile, we are vulnerable. Do you have the understanding, daughter? Yes, mother, I did not use tactics, only passion. You need to become used to using tactics instead of passion. Passion makes mistakes in the moment's desire to kill. Tactics give you the edge over those who refuse such knowledge. As the demon, I used passion, but I learned to use tactics also. A scimitar goes deeper in the back when they think you are a friend. A daughter of Druj is never ignorant of the mistakes of others' passion. We strike and they will die. I have the understanding, High Priestess. Thank you for your wise counsel. Namkuzu, I refuse to put that horrid habit back on. I am too small for Shadrach's clothing. I do not like being small, Namkuzu. I am a tall child. My sword reach is minimal now. My kicks will bring me closer to the enemy more than I am comfortable with. I need to practice, to train this new body. We all need to train our new bodies. Alshurta picks up some of Shadrach's clothing. Now I must wear oversized clothing, thus another disadvantage. If we were attacked, I would be dead. Alshurta sits in the chair looking at the sun, a frown upon her face, refusing to put clothing on in their sleeping room. The high priestess in the temple rarely wore clothing unless required. 2 hours later. There is a soft knock. Girls, may I enter? Alshurta replies. If it is only you, then yes. James is shocked when he sees Alshurta. I am sorry, I did not realize you were getting dressed. James turns to leave. Stay, James. I was not getting dressed, I prefer to be naked. You have seen women bare before, and you are accustomed to the splendor of a nude woman. What is the viper mad at now? Do I breathe too loudly? Can she hear me upstairs? No, that will be in 2 days. Both lightly laugh. I am sorry Suzan did that to you. I think she wants to break me completely before she divorces me. Honestly, I do not know what is holding her back other than that. Is there any way you can prevent her from getting a copper? Only if she publicly commits suicide. Even if she had a heart attack, I would be cast as the villain, except by my friends. They already avoid the house like the plague. A public suicide. Just how public, James? I would be comfortable with at least 15. That could happen, James. Yes, I can see it happening. I can only dream of it, some days like today. We do not have 15 people today. You can only dream for now. Shadrach looks to James. Daddy? Yes, baby. Why are you surprised? Shadrach grabs her head, it is like a thunderbolt struck her essence, she thinks she feels another. Shadrach screams, Priestess. Alshurta runs to her daughter, lifting her head, looking into her mind, she sees nothing wrong with her daughter. James raises his eyebrow. Then thinks Priestess? It could be a stress headache. Karen had them also. James goes to his daughter. Baby, it will be okay. I will find you a place to live soon. Do not let Suzan get to you. She wins if you let her get under your skin. Do you want a hug? That always made you feel better. She hugs James with strength. I missed you, Daddy. Caressing her hair. I missed you also, darling. Shadrach extracts herself from James. She does not remember hugging him. Thank you, Daddy. Looking to Alshurta with a questioning face. James, what can we do for you? Thank you for locking my den, she knew that was the only room they could be in. Tomorrow I will bring you shopping for clothes. You need clothes that fit. James, that is too kind. I do not think we could. You have no clothing, Alshurta, other than your habit. No offense, it isn't pleasant to look at, it seems as if it was hand-washed in rusty water. It was James. Really? I do not mean to demean you, Alshurta, you are too small for Sally's clothes. Her height is the only thing of mine that Sally has, other than being stubborn as a rock. So, you know I will not take no when I put my foot down. I have enough money for all of you to live on. Please let me help you. Alshurta does not want to take anything from men. There is always a price. Always. Yet James is not like the men she knew. He is a kind man, he loves his daughter as much as he loved his late wife. He loves Sally deeply as I love my Namkuzu. He takes what the viper spits at him as though it was penance for losing his true love. Is James the only good peach in a barrel of rotting peaches? Yes, we shall take you on your offer. You have caught us in great need, you have thrown us a solid rope to escape our deep well. I love the way you talk. Alshurta, you have a rare eloquence. Although I am sure if you wanted to tell someone off, they would know it. Yes, you could say she can flay the skin off a man with a word or two. Namkuzu, do not falsely brag about me. James, it takes 4 words. I love the way you joke with each other. No wonder Sally is so in tune with you. I have to admit, you do not act like the nuns that I remember. James, the nuns were not holy, and they were far from sacred. They lied and were cruel, we know the truth. Lattice, I will drive you tomorrow. Do not worry about seeing Suzan. She left in a huff. When she does that, she is gone for a couple of days. Now I need to pack up all of Karen's belongings and bring them to my office. Shaking his head, James goes upstairs. Now they can break their fast. Alshurta watches Shadrach after seeing her eyes close. Is she using her host memories, or is it a host ghost? Shadrach shows all what cupboard has what food. Then she is Shadrach eating as she usually eats, very messily. The rest of the day, she was Shadrach. I feel like the old scribe boring holes into me, looking for a demon. Only she is not a demon in hiding, but a host ghost who should not be there. As usual, till it was time to sleep, the daughters sat around Alshurta as she taught the magics, minor and major words of power, hand chants, and the subtle ways of mental magic, in order that they can gain their own understanding of the magics. June 6th. 51 days to escape. 12 p.m. The daughters wake late. Alshurta is sitting naked in the chair, looking at the sun, a slight smile on her face. Namkuzu has never seen her mother so at peace. She did not like it. Her mother is the demon with the flaming scimitar, the mother of cunning tactics, she whose rage and fury that knows no bounds, Alshurta, the last high priestess of Druj and Gramenyu. Not a contented young woman knitting in the sun. Seeing her daughters wake. Daughters, we need to break our fast. Then prepare for leaving with James. We are going out into a world that only our hosts lived in. Do not trust anyone, women as well as men. They will see we do not belong and will attempt to rob us. Do not attack men. Dagrim, do not provoke a fight. We do not know the laws of man in this world. If attacked, do not kill. A broken arm or leg will be acceptable. Namkuzu, do not provoke a fight. I cannot stress how important it is. We need to blend in. You never notice a spider in a corner when she eats her fly. When James brings us to the stores, do not haggle the price. We do not know the value of which we buy. James is the one who clothes us. It is his right to barter. Lastly, I must stress Namkuzu and Dagrim, do not provoke a fight, unless you want to fight me. Do you understand, daughters? Yes, High Priestess, yes, Mother. Shadrach pokes Dagrim and chuckles. So, sister, I can do anything. You cannot retaliate. Alshurta clears her throat, sternly looking at Shadrach. Yes, High Priestess. Thank Druj, I do not have problems with you, Beluda. When the priestess turns around to leave, Beluda smiles as she is looking at her sisters, then gives them a rude gesture, sticking her tongue out at them. In the hallway, they hear. Beluda, follow now. The rest of the daughters give her a rude gesture, while smiling. Walking into the kitchen, they hear James humming as he is cooking. The smell makes the daughters stop and take a deep breath. I hope you girls like bacon and eggs with pancakes. Alshurta scans Sophia's memories, finding out she loved bacon, also coffee. Pancakes have been pancakes since the dawn of time, different names, but the same. I am sure after womankind discovered fire, 2 days later she made pancakes. Now bacon is new to us. They did not cut pig in this fashion, or flavor it in our time. Orange juice and a large carafe next to it are on the table. Do you girls still say grace? We do silent praise to Nisaba, the goddess of bounty. James raises his eyebrow. First Namkuzu asks Ishtar to bless my slumber, now some goddess I never heard of is praised for food. They really rebelled once they got free of the church. James picks up the carafe. Coffee girls. Alshurta and Dagram say yes. Shadrach says she never liked it. Even Namkuzu noticed that. Alshurta tells Beluda to try the bacon and coffee, she will like it. While eating, James is looking at Sally eat, almost laughing, watching her as she devoured her food. Did they not feed the girls at that monastery? The daughters have nearly emptied the maple syrup. Shadrach wipes her mouth with her arm and then burps. Sally, do not clean your mouth with your arm, that is what napkins are for, you are not 8 anymore, dear. Also, please respect others around you. We do not want to hear you burp, it is not appropriate at the table. Dagram smiles. I have tried for years to make her stop that. Good luck, James. Swallowing a whole pancake in her mouth before she spoke, sorry, Daddy. The rest of the daughters use their napkins. Dagram walks to the sink. In her host's memory, this is done to thank their host. Namkuzu, come here, it is time to clean. I shall wash, you shall dry, even you have the understanding for that. James heard Namkuzu mutter Druj under her breath as she stood up. On Alshurta's second cup of coffee, she asks James, is there a place to buy swords? We practiced at the monastery. It is a spiritual exercise that I taught the others. It is a way to reach divinity and harmony in oneself. James looks blankly. You fight with real swords? Is there anything else you would fight with? On her third stack of pancakes, Shadrach looks up, barely swallowing before she spoke. Daddy, bow-kin swords next to my old dojo. I understand, no problem, girls. Dagram leaned over asking Shadrach, what did you mean? Bow-kin swords, dojo? With a mean tone in her voice, I don't know, I just said it. Leave me alone. Shadrach has never talked to me that way before. The high priestess is staring intently at her. What is going on? Shadrach looks to Dagram. I'm sorry, I just feel angry for some reason, you know, like Namkuzu always is. Now back to the dishes, slave. Shadrach makes a whipping noise. When Shadrach turns around, Dagram flicks her ear hard, quickly turning back to the sink. Namkuzu snaps her neck with the drying towel. Shadrach yells at her sisters. James smiles that his daughter is having fun with her friends. She has not been like this since Karen died. Girls, this is escalating to what you were told not to do. James notices they all said yes, Alshurta, but Namkuzu said yes, mother? James raises his eyebrow with that statement. Beluda finished the pot of coffee. This is good, I love coffee. Can you show me how to make coffee, James? I would love to. I will get us some Kona, which has a wonderful smooth flavor, it is my favorite. Thank you, James. Girls, be ready to leave in an hour. I need to call the office, then I will be ready. They all head back to Sally's room. The priestess asks Shadrach if she can look into her mind. She gives her consent. Upon entering, Alshurta is shocked. There should be memory leaves, rocks of thoughts. It is barren, even though she feels activity all around her. It is like a whirlwind is trying to form, yet denied when it is close. There must be memories. A pebble of thought at least. Alshurta begins to hunt in this unknown barren landscape of her daughter's mind. Alshurta thinks she sees a cave in the distance. It always stays in the distance, no matter how far she walks to it. After a while, she yells, Sally? Someone touches her shoulder. Spinning around, Namkuzu is there. Mother, it is time to leave. James is ready. Thank you, daughter. I told you, Mother. Shadrach does not think. Look at this, I am surprised, she should be drooling uncontrollably. Where is Shadrach, mother? I have been wondering that myself, daughter, very strange. Let us leave now. Alshurta pulls Beluda aside. I told you to test your mental magic on Shadrach, I will tell Namkuzu to train you right away. She is a taskmaster, But you will learn the skill from a master. Is that acceptable, Beluda? As you wish, my priestess. What is wrong with Shadrach? She just needs more training. I will personally see to it. On the way to the car, Alshurta tells Namkuzu the plan for Beluda. She looks back to Beluda, sending, using her mother's voice. Thank Druj, I do not have problems with you, Beluda. I am going to love training you, sister. First, you will learn to bar your door better than you have now. Then you will learn to send and talk at the same time. You will begin by verbally going through the lineage of celestial daughters, while singing the lineage of our line back to Druj, then physical movement while sending, finally, all three at the same time. Then you shall say them backward and forwards. I know them by heart both ways, and so shall you. I will never tell you to do something that I have not done at least 100 times. When you learn all that, you will be ready to learn offense and defense. Mother trained me in the same fashion. To build your door's strength, I will randomly send the mental magic version of slapping your ears. It will stop when you can stop me. Beluda thinks, is it too late to ask the high priestess if she will just let me watch her train Shadrach? Yes, it is too late, Beluda. Mother would train you the same. Beluda twitches as Namkuzu pings her mind. If you do not have a strong door, anyone of any skill will hear your thoughts. Ping. See your door as a thick wooden door with iron bindings. Ping, shut the door, ping, and lock it. I shall knock even in your sleep. I see you fully trained in a year. As I said, I am going to enjoy this. Ping. Do you need me to teach you the lineage of both lines? I understand if you need to relearn them. In our early days of being daughters, most glance over that and forget them since they are never used. Yes, please, Namkuzu. In Beluda's mind, she hears Namkuzu sing the lineage of the celestial daughters. Beluda is amazed that she has such a beautiful voice. All the while Namkuzu is talking to Dagram. Ping. Shadrach feels angry again, sitting in the back, cramped with the other three around her. She wants to yell at the two to shut up, stop talking over her. The one next to her keeps twitching. The one in the front. Why is she looking at me in the mirror? Shadrach sticks her tongue out. Alshurta is appalled. What did she just do? The high priestess slips into her daughter's mind. The whirlwind finally has formed. It is large, gouging furrows in the ground. She hears voices coming from the whirlwind. Alshurta yells at Shadrach to calm down. The whirlwind hears the high priestess. It flies towards her, the ground being ripped up, deep gouges in its path towards Alshurta. The whirlwind, it screams 5 times liar. Each time it is said, it doubles its volume. Alshurta raises a hand. 2 tornadoes go to meet the whirlwind, dissipating it. Memory leaves and rocks of thought begin to slowly come back. Shadrach lies on the ground. The high priestess creates a small pool so she could wipe her daughter's brow with cool water. Shadrach opens her eyes. Priestess, shouldn't we prepare? James should be ready soon. We are in his car. You fell asleep, daughter. What was your dream like? I haven't dreamed since I was called home. I see, daughter. It is time to come back, Shadrach, daughter of Druj, sister to Dagram. Just think of the sights you shall see in this new world today. The priestess tweaks her daughter's nose with a smile on her face. Then Alshurta fades away. Namkuzu saw the interaction between her mother and Shadrach. She is not training her. What is she doing? Namkuzu prepares herself to keep singing the lineage of the celestial daughters for Beluda. She stopped talking to Dagram, then enters Shadrach's mind. Her sister is sitting next to a pool. Namkuzu notices the landscape is back to normal. Shadrach looks up. I know, Namkuzu, I need to wake up. I was just enjoying the pool your mother made for me. Why is it when I look into it, I only see her reflection? I only see Sally's. I was always able to see myself. Why can't I see my face now, Namkuzu? Why do I only see her face? Namkuzu looks in the pool, seeing her true face staring back at her. I only see Mary Lee's face, sister. There is nothing wrong. Come, let's be ready. Soon we will be in this new world fully, not hiding in a house, but seeing the real world as we have only seen from our host memories. Mary Lee loved fast food. I want to try it for myself, and also ice cream. What treat of the new world are you looking forward to, sister? I do not know what it is, but it is called shrimp fried rice. I can almost taste it. I want more Coca-Cola also. It tasted wonderful, it gave me fizzes up my nose. Namkuzu puts out her hand. Come sister, let us shop, eat, and drink as people in the new world do. Namkuzu opens her eyes to see her mother looking at her. Sending to the high priestess Shadrach is worried mother. When she looked in the pool, she can only see her host's face in the reflection. I told her that is normal, mother. Did I do wrong? No, daughter, you did fine. Thank you for not worrying her. Tonight, I need to talk to you about Shadrach. Something is wrong with her. Yes, mother. Daughter, you have been slapping Beluda's ears persistently. Slow down. Are you getting back at her? No, mother, I would never abuse the right of a teacher. Namkuzu gives her best innocent look. Yes, daughter, you would never do that. I do believe you. Because my daughter is just like her mother. Alshurta smiles at her daughter. Namkuzu remembers when her mother was mad at her during her training. James adjusts the mirror. Beluda, are you okay? Yes, James, Namkuzu keeps poking me. You girls are violent just like your real sisters, and I do not mean in the religious type. Alshurta lightly laughs. After all we have gone through, our bonds with each other are as strong as any family. We truly are sisters and daughters from different mothers. A book that Karen loved said that almost the same way. Let's see. Yes, now I remember it. The bond that links your true family is not one of blood, but of respect and joy in each other's life. Rarely do members of one family grow up under the same roof. Dagram leans into James. According to you, I should have respect for Namkuzu. I did not say that. I forgot to say except for Namkuzu. James had a healthy and infectious laugh. Mostly, everyone is laughing. A strong ping hits James. He acts like a large bug, just bit his neck. James pulls into a section of warehouses that have been converted to stores. Sally and her mother shopped here. Karen shopped here growing up, passing it to Sally. From the car to the shop, James is leading the daughters to Sally's favorite shop. Turning around, he gets a feeling he is a mother duck with her ducklings close behind him. When Alshurta is in the shop, she does not like anything at all. All inappropriate for fighting, the material is not good for heavy use, it will tear. The only worthwhile thing of the garments being all black. Alshurta thanked James to have brought her here. She apologizes she does not like the garments. She will stay outside. Looking down the street there are many stores. Alshurta scans Sophia's memories, she recognizes a store name, and it is there she will find what she is looking for. Telling James, he looks at her. You want to go to an Army-Navy surplus store? Yes, James, they will fit my needs perfectly. It is just 3 blocks. Walking past a bar, drunkards are smoking outside the bar, they are not using pipes, but the smell is the same. Several whistles at her, one wants the tiny woman to come over and give him a blowjob. The high priestess does not know the term, one can imagine it is just a disgusting act of male dominance. Staring at the pig, someone deep inside of her tells the pig what he must now do. The pig shoves the burning end of his tobacco deep in his nose, screaming, he cannot remove it till he puts out all the embers. His friends are trying to pull his arm away. They stare at the tiny woman walking away, she is laughing. The demon with the flaming scimitar cackles, continuing to the store. The store is large. The man behind the counter welcomes Alshurta to his store, then goes back to reading his book. Cookware, iron, and some bright light metal. Many things I could have used in the desert. Yet they would have made me reliant on them, not on myself. Pants are good quality, well sewed, tan with various tan blobs, black and one a mixture of green color blobs. It took a while to find tan and black in her size. White and black shirts, jackets that felt like silk but have strength to them. She brings her goods to the front and tells the man she is still looking. When she gets to the back of the store, she finds the footwear. Solid leather, crafted for warriors. Taking off her shoes. The last of a nun's clothing that she wears. Finding a pair for her size, then putting them on. Having to use Sophia's knowledge, she laces them tight. She begins to walk around. Performing kicks, standing on her toes, spin kick, wide leg spread, jump, and kick. The demon is satisfied with them. Alshurta sends to Namkuzu that she is done shopping and to send James when he can. Namkuzu replies, James will be there soon, mother. Alshurta tells the merchant that her friend will be here soon to purchase for her. As she is waiting, she gazes at the combat knives under the glass. The merchant takes out the 5 that looked good to her. She asks why one has a hollow pommel. He shows her the items contained in it. She shakes her head as she sees the items. It looks like Alshurta is teaching a young temple daughter to pick up her game stones. Men and their toys. She picks up a light knife. It is well balanced, has a good edge. She starts to twirl it, then passes it back and forth between her hands. The merchant tells her to stop, his insurance is already high. She asks for 2 with her purchases. May I change into my new clothes as I wait? The merchant said it was fine with him. He points to the dressing room, telling her to go there to change. James comes in with Alshurta coming out of the changing room. You amaze me, Alshurta, from nun to G.I. Jane. The merchant begins to tally up the sale of the month. 4 pairs of pants, a jacket, 4 shirts, and a pair of boots. He was about to ring up the combat knives when James told him no. Alshurta, I will not allow weapons in the house. She apologized for her transgression of his home and hospitality. You did not know, there is no transgression, I have never liked weapons, I refuse to have any weapon around me. I honor the convictions of peace, James. The world would be a better place if we did not have to answer violence with violence. Sadly, the world of today is the same as in the past, violence is the action before thought. Well said, Alshurta, let's go get the other girls, before they buy the whole store. James, even Namkuzu would see the folly of owning a store. She would force them to pay her rent. More efficient. James starts to laugh. Why do you girls build Namkuzu to be so mean? I think she is a very nice, kind of moody, articulate, young woman. Now Dagram is a woman, I would not want to get mad at me. Just once she said 2 whole sentences, then back to her 3 or 4 word answers. They go through the door, both see an ambulance leave, the 2 friends of the rude drunkard are waiting outside the store. What did you do to our friend Witch? What do you mean? I never touched him, I was on the street. James tells them to leave him alone. Are you her daddy? Stay out of this, before you get hurt also. Alshurta's mouth slowly stretches into a dead man's grin. The demon slips into the tall one's mind. The tall man goes blind, unable to speak. Alshurta drops her bags as she does a jump kick to the shorter man's chest, knocking him off balance. Running behind him, wrapping the crook of her arm around his neck, choking him out. He tries to pull her arm off, but then his arms go limp to his side. The demon is in the man's mind with her flaming scimitar, cutting his ability to use his arms and his ability to see for life. On the ground, she kicks him in the throat. Then the demon looks at the tall one. With a hard kick to his balls, he doubles over, with her fists, the demon boxes his ears. Then a knee hard to his nose. Elbow to where his skull meets his neck when he is down, a kick to his temple. A hard sweat is pouring off Alshurta. Yes, I need to train this body. That took far too long. Alshurta. You just attacked them, for no reason. James, do you think they came to talk about how we discovered fire? If Galileo was correct that we revolved around the sun? Or did they come here for violence? The short one threatened you. I gave them the violence that they craved for. What convent did you grow up in? Sisters of the Mixed Martial Arts? No, James, as I said before, I took fighting as a religious expression of divinity. I am versed in the staff, scimitar, daggers and the bows. Alshurta picks up her bags. Let us leave James, before the city guards show. I don't think they will say to anyone a 5-foot-tall girl, beat them up. I know that one will not speak of this ever. Back at the car, James tells her no more fighting. The High Priestess has a silent laugh. This is exactly what I told Namkuzu and Dagram not to do. 10 minutes later, James and the daughters come out. All the daughters are smiling at Alshurta except for Namkuzu. James told us what happened, mother. You were forced to fight? Why did they want to fight in the first place? Namkuzu, I am sorry. I acted rashly, drawing unwanted attention to me. Some man made a rude comment to me. I acted as though we still lived in our time. The demon came out. I did not stop her. One thing that was made clear, we all need to train now. I know the moves, but the body does not have the strength or the ability for follow-through. You said that yesterday, mother. I agree, we are all weak. I doubt I could defeat Beluda. But this is not that discussion. High Priestess, look at them grinning at you because of what you did. The seed that it is okay for violence has been planted. You need to rip those seeds out of the ground before they take root. Dagram agrees with me. We both know that we cannot live as we did in the past. You do not have to worry about us. I am the first daughter, and one of my duties is to enforce your rules. You just made that impossible. If you don't follow your own rules, why should they? Tell my sisters you are wrong, that you let your desire outweigh your wisdom. They will listen. You need to tell them that it was wrong and apologize to them. You are right, daughter. I shall talk to them when we get home. I am supposed to be the example of being a priestess, not a first-week daughter. Now that has been said. What did you do to cause this? How was the fight, mother? I will share with you and Dagram later. James has been patiently waiting for us. When they get in the car, James is talking to Beluda about her purchase, a box of green hair dye. He tells her that she would look beautiful. Alshurta, the female merchant's hair was green. She sold me a box that will make mine green somehow. James asked if Beluda ever seen someone dye their hair. No, why? Well, you don't want to start in the deep end of the pool with a color that bold. I will ask my secretary if her daughter can help you. She changes her color at least once a month. Then you can see how it is done properly outside a salon. Thank you, James. Dagram leans into James. The merchant said her slave markings were tattoos. They were very colorful and nicely designed for being slave markings. Is she the property of the owner of the store? I am sure she may think she is a slave at times, Dagram. Have you never seen tattoos before? Namkuzu leans into James. She is just teasing you. Namkuzu sends to Dagram, use your host memories, or ask mother before you ask questions of what something is. We can't pester James for basic knowledge. We look foolish in his eyes asking him about everything. He sees us as free women, ex-nuns. We are displaced in time. It will take time to learn the new ways. We do not want James to think we are idiots. I understand, first daughter. I did not think. James parks the car in front of a store called Glam Envy. Sally, do you remember getting your prom dress here? It takes a minute for Shadrach to scan Sally's memories. It was like she was being blocked. Yes, Daddy. It was very pretty till Steve spilled his drink on me. Yes, you were mad coming home and missing the party at Jenny's. Since we are having Sally's welcome home party in a month, you need dresses. Really, it is all of yours party. I want to welcome all of you to my home properly. It is not often you have runaway nuns staying with you. What you got today is not proper party wear. Unless it is one of Sally's parties when I was out of town. So, let's get you something nice. All the daughters scan their host memories to find out what James is talking about. Beluda sends to Namkuzu asking her what is going to happen. Alshurta and the daughters do not like the idea of formal wear, but it is James's wish. It is his hospitality that they have a roof over their heads, food in their bellies, and he has clothed them. They do not like it, but they all agree it is the right path except for Namkuzu. I do not wish to look like a concubine. When they enter, the three female assistants go to the daughters. James sits down, pulls out his cell phone, then begins the wait that most men hate. He likes to see the transformation of girls into women. Every now and then he takes pictures of Sally and her friends. As he studies the pictures, randomly one or two of their faces are fuzzy, some completely gone, some slightly so. He is sure it was because of the lighting in the room. Alshurta got a full-length, red Nehru jacket, with red pants being barefoot. At least she is not wearing her combat boots. He knows not to press the issue of shoes since they were not excited about the dresses in the first place. Namkuzu took the first dress offered and was done. James did a silent laugh. She must have been a serious tomboy growing up. Then he remembered her comment about being called kuzu by the slavers. What did they do to her? Dagram looked at what was offered, then chose almost blindly. Sally and Beluda are interested in what is shown to them. Beluda tried on several dresses and chose a white dress that looked very nice. Sally chose a turquoise dress. James looks at the time. Only 2 hours waiting, not bad. Back when Suzan was nice, she would bring Sally here and it would take 4 hours at least. Back in the car, James asks if they are hungry. They all say yes, even though they have already eaten their daily meal. What are you girls interested in? James was thinking of a nice sit-down restaurant. Namkuzu speaks up. Fast food and ice cream. Sally says shrimp fried rice. Of course, Sally wants shrimp. Alshurta, after scanning Sophia's memories, tells James she has never had fast food, but she enjoys ice cream. Namkuzu sends to Beluda, tell James you want fast food, you will like it. Dagram and Beluda says fast food. Okay, let's go to the mall then. On the way to the mall entrance, James feels like a mother duck and her ducklings again. In the mall, James goes to the ATM, he walks up behind the girls and they are laughing at something in the window of the archaeological reproduction store. He asks Alshurta what is so funny. Pointing to the Sumerian cuneiform there. They say it is a curse. Yes, it would be. It is supposed to make a man's member soft, unable to get erect for life. They made a mistake in the writing, so it would be painfully erect for life. Maybe that was not a mistake. That made the girls laugh more. You girls know how to read Sumerian that well? You cannot transcribe ancient texts without knowing how to read what you are transcribing, James. You can say it is like a mother tongue for us. Sally knows it also? Yes, I would say she speaks it better than English. James is astonished Sally failed Spanish every year. James leads them to the food court, then gives them each $30. Telling them to follow their nose to get something. Alshurta asks James what does he like. The Whopper from Burger King. Let's get a chocolate malt first, then our burgers. James commandeers a table so all can sit together. The daughters all say a silent praise to Nisaba, then they begin to eat. Sally got her shrimp fried rice with a large Coke. James puts a napkin in front of her. You forgot your napkin, dear. Namkuzu gets up and grabs some for them all. Alshurta, did Sally eat like that at the monastery? For as long as I have known her. I think her vocation for divinity is being a messy eater. She is rather good at it, I believe. Shadrach looks up. What? I didn't burp. Thank God for manners then, dear. Dagram and Beluda are eating tacos. I told you, Beluda, you would like them. Namkuzu got €1, a blue cheeseburger with all the toppings, with French fries, with a root beer float. The table is quiet as they eat. Just as they were finishing up their feast, James gets a call. We need to go home soon. We have enough time to get your practice swords and then home. I have a delivery on the way. Suzan should still be gone so I do not have to worry about being caught. What are you doing, James, setting a trap in her bed? He laughs. No, Alshurta, something more comfortable than blankets on the floor for you girls. Alshurta tells the girls to walk ahead, she needs to talk to James. Why are you doing this, James? There is kindness to strangers, then there is you? What do you expect from us? There is always a price with men and I need to know what is yours. If you expect sex, we will leave and live on the streets. Alshurta, I do not want sex. You are all too young for me. I am not some dirty old man watching you from a peephole in a wall. Even though my family was rich, I do know what it is to need and be without. My father taught me to share my bounty, and to be a good man. I worked at a soup kitchen while I was in college. When Karen was alive, we worked with Habitat for Humanity. Sally did it also. Now I donate money to charities. I try every day to be a better man than I was yesterday. You befriended Sally. I wish she knew how important that is. Dagram is very close to her, almost lovingly, even though they argue a lot. You are a motherly figure that she has not had in a very long time. The rest of the girls are very sisterly. Sally never had any real friends at school. Most were just rich racist pricks that made fun of her behind her back. They did not realize I was her father as I listened to them. It took all my strength not to knock their heads together. Karen said racists will always be there and not to waste my time on them, since they will never listen and they will never change. Karen was a true saint. I saw that you needed help and I was there. Helping you helps me be a better man. Also, it drives Suzan insane, not like that's hard in the first place. You said with all men there is a price. My price is you need to help others that need it. Is that acceptable? Yes, James, thank you for your kindness and your hospitality. For a man, you do not act like any that I have ever met. You truly are a good man. Alshurta, I am sorry that you are so distrustful of men. I do understand it. With my dealings for oil rights, they show their true colors at the negotiation table. Most men are greedy thieves with hidden agendas. I have a question. Namkuzu said she hates being called Kuzu since that is what the slavers called her. Also, she hates men touching her. I rubbed her hair and I thought she was going to blow. I did apologize when I realized what I did. She was a slave? For how long? Yes, James, she was a slave. I saved her. That is all I will say about it. I am surprised she said anything about it. Sally teased her with Kuzu. She did not take it well. If ever I could help, let me know. No one should have to carry that burden alone. I understand your concern, James. What was done to her makes her distrustful of all men, no matter the good in their heart. As they started walking again, they hear Shadrach burp long and loud. The daughters and even Alshurta start to laugh. James is not far behind laughing. Just when you think you taught your daughter good manners, you sent her to become a nun, then she forgets everything. I am glad she was only there for 3 years. Any longer she would have bought a lazy boy, a keg of beer, with a large screen TV watching football. Alshurta, after scanning Sophia's memory, smiles at his joke. It could be worse than that, James. She could like bowling. James sees the daughters milling about at the exit. Well, let's catch up with my ducklings. They seem lost without their mother duck. Alshurta scanned Sophia's memories. She smiled again. Yes, it would look that way. You know the city and its ways. Also, we prefer not to get lost. It was a short drive to Sally's old dojo. Shadrach walked to the window, looking in at a class being taught. A man waved at her to come in. She shakes her head no. For some reason, she feels sad walking away and going to the shop next door. Alshurta is in love with the store. Real weapons and wooden weapons of every type. The high priestess sends to her daughters of James wishes for practice swords only, no edged weapons. Dagram and Namkuzu send back to her their displeasure about this. Daughters, a well-placed strong blow will break a bone, or have you forgotten that? Alshurta is holding 2 wooden scimitars, twirling and thrusting. When Namkuzu has a practice sword, Alshurta makes several clicks with her tongue. Namkuzu spins, ducks as Alshurta stabs where she was. Namkuzu does a short whistle, while then a short high-pitched whistle drops, rolls, and swipes where Alshurta's ankles were. Good daughter, you still remember. Now to get our speed and strength back. James finds it interesting that Namkuzu has called Alshurta mother, and now Alshurta just called her daughter. Sally did say she was their mother figure at the monastery. She is very motherly to all the girls. Namkuzu and her do seem more in tune with each other, like a mother-daughter relationship. But they are the same age. Alshurta made the comment that she saved Namkuzu from the slavers. That would build a bond like a mother and a daughter. How did that small woman save her? How old were they when she saved her? Watching her fighting the bikers, I can see her saving Namkuzu. Her moves were effortless and smooth. Watching Alshurta practice with the swords, it looks like they are an extension of herself. A person would be in a hard place to live long on the other end of those swords. If fighting is her vocation for divinity, she must truly be divine. They are the strangest nuns he has ever heard of. When they rebelled, it seems this was a long time in the planning stage of what they wanted, since it is not pulled out of thin air. A goddess for sleep and food are the only two that I know of. Alshurta has a military bent on her, not just in clothing, but in her mannerisms also. I would not play chess with her, since she will have you in check before you sat down. Everywhere we went today, she studied the room and all the people around us. James sees the girls are ready to leave. They even got a duffel bag to carry their swords. As James pays, he is glad they just got wooden. Real weapons would be 6 times more costly. As they walked out, Shadrach goes to the window of the dojo. The man is still teaching. He waves again to her. Shadrach smiles and waves back to him. Dagrim puts her head over her sister's shoulder. What is this place? It is her dojo, a training hall where she learned how to fight. As James is pulling into the driveway, he sees the delivery truck pulling in behind him. He tells Sally to get the girls and put their clothing in the walk-in closet, go to the living room, then stay there till I say come out. 15 minutes later, he calls for them. 4 queen-size futons with sheets are on the floor, looking like a large square. Alshurta bends over, puts her hand on it. Daughters, this is softer than our temple bed chamber. Looking up at James, she sees he has a questioning look on him again. My cell at the monastery, I mean. Alshurta stands and gives thanks to James for his kindness today. The rest of the daughters follow her lead and thank James for the day and the goodwill he has shown them. Alshurta sends to Shadrach to hug her father. It is what Sally would do. She gives him a strong bear hug. Thank you, Daddy. Anything for you, dear, you know that. Alshurta picks up the duffel bag of weapons. Now let's go outside. We need to train these lazy bones back to our true fighting abilities. For the next 3 hours, James watched the girls beat the hell out of each other. At times 1-on-1, sometimes 2 against Alshurta, then the real action was Alshurta against Namkuzu. Unlike the others, they didn't pull their punches. Namkuzu was getting hit a lot. He could see Alshurta yelling at her when she scored a hit on her. Dagrim came in for a pitcher of water. Does she always go full force on Namkuzu? They have been together the longest of us. She knows Namkuzu's full ability, she expects no less of her, and Namkuzu expects no less. Alshurta is getting hit as hard by Namkuzu, she is just harder to hit. After we have trained more, all of us will be going full force like you said. If it does not hurt, you learn nothing, James. At 11 p.m., they came in for the night and went to sleep quickly on their comfortable bed. June 9th. 47 days to escape. Namkuzu wakes up stretching like a cat, long and slow. Beluda is sitting with her back up against the wall. Namkuzu sees that she has been crying. Sister, why are you shedding water? Since I woke into this new world, I have no idea of what anything is. The first night here the high priestess passed to me how to speak English as I slept. She tells me I would like this. Dagrim tells me I would like that. Even Shadrach in her own strange way tells me I would like something. When we went shopping, everyone was telling me what would look good on me. I got the hair dye because I chose to. When we got the dresses, I did not ask anyone for help, I chose for myself what looked good on me. I do not want to be told if I would like this or hate that. I need memories just as all of you have, I cannot rely on you to tell me something. I am weak, Namkuzu. I cannot leave the house since the world is completely unknown to me. Is it poison or a dessert? I was terrified in James's car. For me an oxen cart was transportation, now it is a metal tortoiseshell that has great speed. Namkuzu, I am ignorant and a daughter of Druj is never ignorant. Namkuzu hugs her sister. We will talk to mother. We could sneak up behind Suzan and drain her so she is a mushroom brain. I doubt even with your considerable willpower you would still become a viper once you gained her memories. We can still turn her into a mushroom brain in Namkuzu, just to give James a reprieve from her voice. Both daughters laughed. As is normal for Beluda, who is the queen of mocking people. She opens her mouth with her tongue hanging out and eyes rolled up. Using Suzan's voice. My name is shit in my head. Listen to me, I am important. Namkuzu is laughing hard. Then Beluda starts to yell, shut up, I am important, listen to me, I am important, peasants. Namkuzu, since we have come to the new world you laugh. No wonder the high priestess enjoys it. Just like your singing voice, it sounds beautiful. If I hear you tell anyone of my singing, I will mentally slap you stupid. Just to prove the point Namkuzu sends a strong mental slap. As soon as it hit Beluda's mental door, it was reflected twofold. Namkuzu puts her hand to her head looking at Beluda. What the Druj was that? You were slapping me in my sleep. I was about to wake up to tell you to stop it, then I remembered what Druj taught us when we were in the land of the damned. I had the understanding of the door with defense. That Druj taught us? I told the high priestess when you were at the ocean with James. For you three, you gave your essence to the offering bowl, then you were in your host's bodies. For me, I gave my essence to the bowl and died. I remember every day in the land of the damned. Every day Druj taught us the magics, mental, hand chants, sigils, and spells. We all have the magic that was taught to us by Druj herself, but it is the same with all the magics, we need to understand the magic before we can use it. For me, it seems I am the only one remembering it. The high priestess believes I may have lost knowledge or new knowledge. When I have the understanding of what I was taught, I am to pass it to the high priestess. So, we just have to access the knowledge we were taught? Interesting, Beluda. I shall meditate on our forgotten magics. Also, you need to tell me of our time in Druj's domain. Now Beluda, you will learn to send and talk at the same time. This will be harder than mental slaps. Imagine using one hand copying a book with the other hand you are painting a picture from memory, blindfolded. Mother taught me to find the music of the lineages that your essence sings to you. The mind grasps music much more quickly than saying them by rote. Namkuzu starts to sing the progression of the high priestess line from Alshurta to Druj for Beluda. Then she sang the progression of the celestial daughters. She was halfway through the second round when Beluda tells her to stop. Namkuzu, you are missing a high priestess, a celestial daughter. What are you talking about, sister? You don't even know the lines well enough to say I am wrong. Mother taught me the lines herself. Are you saying your high priestess is wrong? You are skipping Mu-Paladat. She was the birth daughter of Sarawah when she was a celestial daughter. I have never heard of this Mu-Paladat. Since you believe to know both lines to recognize our line is wrong, show me your understanding, send and speak them. Beluda starts to hear a slow drum beat in her mind, then she starts to sing and speak them at the same time. When she finished with round 1, she sang them reversed as Namkuzu told her to do. Namkuzu let her sing till she finished the 4th round. Sister, how did you gain the understanding so quickly? When I wake up, I understand things I never knew or the understanding of the magics that eluded me. If I think of something I need to know when I go to sleep, it seems I have always known it by dawn. Druj taught us the magics all that time we were there, we learned with understanding. Beluda raises her left hand palm up. Bar your door and think of something, Namkuzu, something small. Beluda places her right hand index finger on Namkuzu's third eye. A small light appears in her palm, growing, stretching, then a ghostly image of a bird is in her palm. Beluda has sweat on her brow. Did you feel me walking in your mind? I felt a breeze, sister. With practice, I will not notice you. We need to talk to Mother. Namkuzu reaches out for Alshurta. Mother says to grab your weapon. She is in the backyard practicing. Namkuzu places her finger on the entwined sleeping sister's brows so when they wake, they will know where to go. Alshurta is practicing her form of figure eights, arms outstretched. Slowly her blades are brought together where they are almost touching as they crisscrossed each other, then back to being outstretched. Namkuzu starts to speak. Alshurta tells them to send only. Before we discuss what you need, I must tell you that all of us have been lazy with names and other things in front of James. Outside of sending, I am only Alshurta, not mother, or high priestess. You are not daughters. I am not immune from this. In the past, we did not need to be secret, we flaunted our abilities, now we need to be silent till we have our own domicile. Namkuzu says yes, Alshurta, I shall make it known to Dagram and Shadrach when they wake. Alshurta continues various sword and body forms. Sending to her daughters. Now fight each other as we talk. Namkuzu sends to Alshurta first of all. Beluda needs memories of the new world. She is ignorant of the world and it makes her vulnerable to all around her. I have been thinking that myself, daughters. One of you must share their memories with her. We cannot use Shadrach. Beluda sends. She has become moodier and angrier since she has taken Sally's memories. Yes, you are right, Beluda. I am a poor choice since Sophia had very limited world knowledge. So that leaves Namkuzu or Dagram. We will wait till Dagram wakes so she can put her voice for decision. Secondly, Beluda is gaining an understanding of the magics Druj gave her. She says when she wakes, she has gained understanding. Mentally slap her hard mother. Alshurta sends a wicked mental slap. For the first time, she stops practicing and shakes her head. Amazing, Beluda, that is powerful magic. Have you learned anything else? Both of you fight me now. Beluda explains the other knowledge she has gained. Dagram sends that she has learned both lineage lines in less than 2 days. Beluda sing and say the lines. Alshurta nods as Beluda goes through the lines, then Beluda sends the name Upaladat with speed. Alshurta aims her scimitars at Beluda's head screaming, where did you learn that name? Namkuzu counters and parries her mother's blades. Alshurta kicks Beluda off her feet, prone to more attacks. Tell me where you heard that name now. Namkuzu holds Alshurta so she cannot attack anymore. Alshurta throws Namkuzu off. She begins her advance on Beluda. Tell me or I will kill you for saying that daughter of a heretic's name. High priestess, I woke up knowing it. When I go to sleep, if I think of something I need to know, I remember what I need. It is what Druj taught me. That is all, high priestess. I do not even know who she is. Alshurta sits down. I am sorry, Beluda, that is a forbidden name, that is forbidden knowledge. Sit, daughters, and I will tell the tale that is only passed from high priestess to high priestess once and only once. Since you have the knowledge without the understanding, I shall pass it to you. I shall tell you a tale of the darkness that stained the line of high priestess and celestial daughters for ages.